Greetings, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And this is the beginning of our Super Tarot Love Month, where we feature a special emphasis on love, relationships, romance, in much of our workings here at TFT. So today you've joined me for my outlook on the emotional exchanges, where I do a one-card pull for each sign of the zodiac, and then more or less give them their reading for the week about their relationships or romances, or most important, heartfelt matters in their lives. And of course, that is for the week beginning today, Friday, a day sacred to Venus, February 4th, and through next Thursday, and that's the 10th. So today we're going to do things a little differently. I've switched around my cards. I've actually brought along the fabulous Final Rose Tarot, which I did an unboxing of about a week ago. It's a very cool kind of kitsch deck, but the tones of the cards are done in very stunning reds and pinks, and the derivation is kind of from the reality show about bachelors, bachelorettes, which I probably never watched really. So it's a very interesting take on it, but I think it'll be a very cool card to use for Super Tarot Love Month for my emotional exchanges. Put that back there. Also, I have maybe a little surprise. I have brought today, or asked today, for my magical consultant, Lady Esmeralda, who some may remember from previous show or two, but also Lady Esmeralda was the long-running second officer of my Midwest Regional Local Council of the Covenant of the Goddess. That Midwest Council no longer remains, but Lady Esmeralda does, and she has agreed to help me today because we're going to do something that more or less qualifies as a working. So let's get started, and we're going to light our Invokes or Groundhog's Day or Valentine's Super Tarot Love Month red candle. Oops, don't blow it out. To begin this correctly, put that in there. All right. Okay. Relax. Isis is all things, and all things are Isis. Her breath is the air. Her will is the fire. Her blood is the water. Her body the earth. Great Isis, we ask thee, aid us now in establishing these elemental pillars of our temple. And of course, the temple I'm erecting today will be specifically for the purpose of pulling the cards. So we're not doing any sacrifices or any other kind of working here. We're just merely pulling the cards and getting a reading for it. All right, so I'm going to shuffle the cards for the collective reading. And this is just to set the tone. However, the idea may return to us a little later in the show. And it's the Seven of Wands is our collective reading. And I'm going to be working with the actual book for this tarot deck, the Enchanted Tarot by Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. I'm going to read a portion of what they say for the Seven of Wands. Courage. You are challenged to stand by your beliefs and values. Do not be afraid to personally defend what must be defended. Only by being assertive will you win the day. Trust your judgment and intuition, and believe that, even if the situation looks forbidding and difficult, you will know how to handle it. Remember that the difference between heroic and cowardly behavior is that a hero or heroine goes forward in spite of the fear. So I would say that, of course, applied to the idea of our emotional exchanges, all of us need to understand that to express our love, we need to be brave too, because we are showing our vulnerability to that which we wish to share our heart with. All right. Let's show that book, The Enchanted Tarot. Great book. So now we're going to the regular part of the reading. And we do one card for each sign of the zodiac. But we're going to do them elementally. So we're going to read for our air signs first, our fire signs, then our water signs, and then our earth signs. It's a good sign. The card that fell is the Lovers. I was almost going to edit this out, but I think I'll leave it in there. All right. Oh, you slippery new cards, you stiff little slippery guys. We're just going to have to break this deck in. So I'm cutting the deck into 4 piles. So we will have an air pile, a fire pile, a water pile, and an earth pile. Lady Esmeralda, thank you for holding the place in the book. And the book I'm working with here is The Isis Magic by M. Isidore Forrest, who's done a number of books in the Egyptian mystical, paganistic ways of worshiping Isis. And although Hail to you, O living breath, which fills all things at their birth. You wind from the wings of Isis, it is you who causes the hawk to fly and all creatures to live. O air, O invisible living one, O breath of the goddess, I invoke you with this sign of life. So now we turn to the air, and first, of course, is Gemini. Whoops, let's turn that camera over. And Gemini has the King of Flutes, which is the King of Cups. Underneath it says the single dad. Now, whether or not this applies to single fathers or single mothers or parents of any sort, I think the idea here is that for Geminis, you are moving into a week where you will be able to find or express, mostly express, unconditional love for all of those who you have a relationship with, whether it's a close romantic one, a singular primary relationship, or whether it's for anyone within your relationship field, your children, your siblings or parents, grandparents, cousins, neighbors you feel close to, co-workers, anybody like that. This is the week to tap into that idea of being there for them, being the kind person who is ready to help out with their emotional problems or difficulties, or when they have a need just for understanding. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Libra, the next of the air signs. And Libra has the 10 of Rings, which is the 10 of Pentacles. And underneath it says hometowns. So Libras, perhaps true to their nature, they may be focusing this week on their love of security, their love of material comfort, their love of material satisfaction and accomplishment. And of course, none of that is a bad thing. It's just saying this is where Libras wish to, or are drawn this week, to find their energies for engagement with the external world. You're going to be working on maybe making things better around your home, making it a little prettier, maybe bringing some flowers home, especially if you have a spouse or a partner that maybe that would be a nice surprise for. So things like that. Maybe you're going to look out more for the security of other people that live there, like maybe younger people if you have children, or any younger people that live in or near your home. You may feel concerned for them. You're going to keep an extra eye on their security, or also to try to be generous in certain ways with them. This is a great time to extend that spirit. Everybody feels, you know, here in the Northern Hemisphere that the weather's so cold. It would be nice if a little warmth could show through. And so think of the ways you can show human warmth. And so then finally we move to the final air sign, Aquarius. And Aquarius has 3 of Mirrors, which of course is the 3 of Swords. And it says red flags. And of course, in the traditional tarot deck, the 3 of Swords is not a very happy card, mostly. So the red flags, I'm going to say that for Aquarians, there's some problems maybe in a couple of their relationships. It could just be the primary one. It could be some other ones that are not as close but are important relationships, and that you may feel there's distancing, and maybe there's harmful words, and maybe there are things being said that are invoking the concept of red flags, that maybe you should notice this earlier, but maybe you should really analyze what it means now, that maybe all is not comfortable in some of your relationships this week. So check that out. All right, so now we're going to move on to the fire signs with this invocation. Hail to you, O burning flame, O fiery disk, you, engenderer of life of all things. You are the heat of work and of passion. You are the light that destroys evil. O fire, O creator, O destroyer, O energy of the will of Isis, I invoke you with this sign of life. So for the fire signs, Aries, we have the Queen of Mirrors, and underneath it says the bitch. Queen of Mirrors is the Queen of Swords. Now in the regular tarot deck there's not such a dire meaning, but we're going to go along with the idea of how this deck presents images that are corollary to the game show it seems to want to evoke or invoke. So this is saying perhaps for the Aries, you have to be tough. Tough love is what's going on here today. Today, you may have to do the very right thing, well, this week, for love, even when others may say, ow, you're a bitch. You're frosty. That was cold of you. But hold it together in your own heart, Aries, because you know that what you're doing is making an important move or decision or action that maybe will be vital for the outcome of not only your own relationship, but maybe relationships you're concerned about and that you have every reason to be concerned about. So now we're going to move to Leo, the next fire sign. And Leo has the Knight of Mirrors. Underneath it says the meathead. The Knight of Mirrors is the Knight of Swords. So the concept behind that is, as a meathead, maybe this person rushes more into things and doesn't apply appropriate energies. And that sounds more like the idea behind the reverse Knight of Swords. But let's just go with this for a moment here. Leos may be feeling that in the way of love, they need to penetrate first and then explain or go to relevance afterwards. And of course, I could be talking literal. He said penetration. But I'm thinking this is really just about any advancement of will, the whole idea of a willful fire sign, and then the energy of the swords is about movement. And so I'm just saying in the way of relationships and romances, especially if this is talking about your primary one, I think Leos should try to find restraint if at all possible. Don't be that person. Don't be the meathead. All right then, moving on to Sagittarius. And Sagittarius has the Four of Cups, which is here shown to be the Four of Flutes. And it says reflection. I like this card. I like the lady looking out the window there. And so I'm thinking, Sagittarians, this is so you in a way, to really, no matter how your outward personality enacts, because I know a few boisterous Sagittarians, I won't mention any of them here, but I think your nature truly can be reflective, and certainly it will be this week. Maybe you have deep thoughts about your relationship or other relationships, but maybe too it's just also about what you really love and value in your life. And maybe this is a time for you to put some of those priorities into a review so that you can more clearly see or clarify where your heart is leading you to, Sagittarians. So now we're going to move on to the water signs. Hail to you, O inundation, O river of heaven and earth, you who make fertile all things. You are the balm from the hands of Isis. You are the purifying waters of the Nemset jug. O blood of Isis, O power of magic, O living soul, I invoke you with this sign. And so we move to our water signs. And our first water sign is Cancer. Let's move those out of the way. And Cancer, you have a night also this week. You have the Knight of Flutes, the Knight of Cups, and it says the hopeless romantic. And of course, it's so true. For many years, the Knight of Cups is or was a card that I feel sort of represents me, an emotional, hopeless romantic. Maybe myself, I would say I'm even a horrible romantic. But for you, I think this is the week, Cancer, where you really are relating to the idea of where you want to go next in your love life, whether it's already established one, what you want to do to just really express a very magnanimous, strong feeling of love. No doubt you're influenced by what's going on with the move towards Valentine's Day. So think positive, think of how you can bring or move, the nights are about movement, something really memorable and loving to your relationship, no matter what stage it's at. So then we move on to Scorpio, the second water sign. And Scorpio has another 4, the 4 of Roses, so that's the 4 of Wands, and it says the Mansion underneath. And I kind of like that one. The 4 of Wands, that's the party card for TFT. So Scorpios maybe this week are looking at all the ways they can really kick back a little bit and maybe enjoy really their movement in love and towards love. I think I'm just going to leave it with that. It's a party card, but it's really about understanding something really greater than yourself that you can also be a part of. So then on to Pisces, our final water sign. And it's the 3 of Roses. So that's the 3 of Wands. And underneath it says next destination. So I think Pisces is planning something with love in mind. I think Pisces has a plan. It could be about furthering the relationships you have, but maybe more likely for other Pisces who don't have a firm relationship yet, who are testing the waters, maybe this is about really looking at what that next destination is in love and relationships. How can you get there? What do you need to do to plan that? It's not necessarily a card saying you have to hurry up and do this, although this is the prognosis for the week. This is saying maybe this week is the week you can start sowing those seeds to further a relationship. So then now we will move on to our final elemental quadrant, the earth signs. And for that we also have our final invocation. Hail to you, O mound of creation, you who did rise from out of the watery new, wherein was no thing before your becoming. By you are all things manifested and sustained. O earth, O mother, O body of the universe, I invoke you with the sign of life. To the earth signs. Our first one is Taurus. And Taurus has the 2 of Cups. Whoops, let's get that down there. The 2 of Cups, cheers. Everybody knows your name. So Taurus, this is a great week for you to really understand your bond, or to promote your bond, to begin your bond. The bond of harmony, love, and trust. Strong feelings between you and someone else. Since I'm not going to disallow for polyamorous relationships, this could imply, that too, just saying that there's a bonding going on between you and someone you love a lot, even if that's more than one person. And I'm talking about a primary type relationship, even if it is polyamorous. So this is really that week of you getting it together with really making a commitment of trust, or a bond of some sort. So then on to the next earth sign, Virgo. And Virgo has an ace of flutes, the ace of cups, and it says the first kiss. So Virgo, I think maybe sometimes they tend to be a little more cautious in relationships. It may very well be that this is the week where you are finding yourself relaxed and comfortable enough with the idea of maybe a relationship you've been thinking about, or maybe one you know has been moving its way towards you, or you've been moving your way back to it. So I'm thinking that's pretty interesting. This is a really good sign for you to move ahead in that. So take care and do that, of course, with your own sense of cautiousness as you may. And then our final card, and it's for the final sign, Capricorn. It's the King of Roses, which is the King of Wands, and that's called the executive producer. So we started with a king, if I recall right, and we end with a king. And for Capricorns, the King of Wands says this is a dynamic week, especially for your relationships, that this may very well find you are instantly appealing and charismatic to a wider array of people. It could very well be because people want to really latch on to that bright star that you are projecting this week. So I don't think this is necessarily about any particular relationship. It's really more about your persona. You may, in fact, because of being this kind of person, already have your relationship situation settled, or you're moving towards it. But even if not, I think this is generally a really great card for all relationships. And I think that this just also promotes the idea that you're so popular, maybe Capricorns, you should consider throwing a party. All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming. It was possibly my intention to work a little love spell into our proceedings today, but I think I kind of ran out of time. So I'm going to just let that go, and I am going to dismiss our circle, as it were, and invite you, of course, to watch my show again, but also watch our happy hour, our Material Matters with Banshee and me in the chat room, slugging down the coffee as we churn out that information for you, our live streams, our other Valentine's month features. There's going to be all kinds of stuff, so keep paying attention to TFT Tarot for today. And now let's close our circle. From the north to the west, to the south, to the east, we thank you for coming and being with us. And now we ask you to depart and go in peace back to your native habitats. Harm no one on the way. Remember always, Isis is all things, and all things is Isis. Our Isis. Take care. See you next time.